Hello, we are live again today. My God, I cannot believe it. So, my name is Barbara Moore. In 2016, I was diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Hi, Kevin. Thank you for joining us today. And I found out that I had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and very shortly after that, I had a sudden cardiac arrest. So the cardiac arrest was not really defined. They didn't know what caused it. Looking back 3.5 years later, we realized that what happens to me is that I become so short of breath and didn't know how to deal with it, that it actually stopped my heart. So I began my journey about 2016. Hi, Sandra. Thank you for joining us today. I had 2 sudden cardiac arrests within 6 months, and I finally got the message. I have a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is a chronic illness that is not going to go away. It's going to be with me till the day I die. It was a really hard thing for me to understand and to come to terms with. I had a really, really hard time. Hi, Carol. Hi, Jackie. I had a really, really hard time giving up my job and coming to my new life. And I've been talking about this for a little while now. But every time I bring it up, it brings new realizations to me. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Jackie. So, yesterday was my birthday. And I'm not saying this because I want birthday wishes, honestly. I had a ton of people, and I did not make it public, so I didn't put it on my Catch Your Breath page, so that's not why I mention this. I've never been one really to celebrate my birthday, and it's never been a really big deal for me. For various reasons, when I was young, we did not celebrate my birthday. It was a day of mourning. And so, thank you, Kevin. The thing is now, though, when you have a chronic illness like we have, something that is not going to go away and something that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, each birthday is really, really special to us. At least it should be. 39, Kevin. 39, yes. I'll take that. But thank you for that. So each year is really special for me. Yesterday last night was no different, or the night before was no different than any other night. I wake up every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. Every morning. Hi, Simone. How are you? And so 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, and I toss and turn and go back to sleep around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And yesterday I thought, you know what, I got so much work to do. I'm really, really busy. I don't have any time. I should extend my day by just getting up at 6 o'clock. But anyways, as you know, the moral of that story goes, I don't have to get up, so I didn't. And I dozed back off. Good thing I did. I had 3 people pop into my dream. And I know it was when I went back to sleep at 5 o'clock because I hadn't even thought about it before that. I had 3 people pop into my dreams. Some of you will remember me talking about Ian a couple of weeks ago. It was his anniversary on March 20th when he was killed. And he popped into my dream. He came and had a cigarette with me. Oh, it was a good cigarette too. We actually didn't smoke it. I just remember him. I was sitting outside of my work, and he came up and said, "Hey, Mama, what's going on? And let's have a smoke." And I went, "Oh, my God." So, Simone, you'll remember me talking about Ian all the time. The next person was my cousin who came to see me, and she popped into the school as well. And the funny thing, Simone, you'll laugh at this. I was the student, and I had this really nasty teacher who wouldn't even let me go for a coffee. And I was like, "Oh, you can't be like that." And so anyways, my cousin dropped in. Now, my cousin passed away in 2016 when I was in the hospital. And I had another person who popped in, And now I haven't heard from this person in about 5 years, and now I'm wondering if she's passed. So isn't this interesting? I went back to sleep and I had a dream. I had 3 people pop into my dream. It was absolutely amazing. So I don't know if anybody believes in this, and I don't know how I really believe in it or either anyways, but what a coincidence that this happened on my birthday, right? I was like beside myself the whole day. And then of course, as the day went on, I got texts and emails, and my grandson popped in the afternoon and brought me some flowers, and he's so gorgeous, right? But the thing is now is that the birthdays really mean something different to me, right? Because I am so grateful to be alive and to be celebrating these birthdays. I realized when I got up from my dream yesterday that I was, no matter how sick I am or how things are progressing with me, and we have bad days and we have good days, but I'm telling you, every day is a gift. Christine, that's wonderful. I so believe when I see the cardinals. I know that if I'm sitting out here looking in my backyard, and my backyard is such a mess right now, and we're just kind of, well, it's a work in progress. Anyways, when I look out and I see the cardinal, and I know that somebody is visiting me, and I truly, truly believe that. And I actually did a blog post on this some time ago about survivor's guilt. And having survived all the people who have passed, even just in the last 3 years, I lost 5 of my best friends while I was in the hospital. Christine, Godspeed, how good for you of you to come on today. I am so happy you've joined us. So every day is a gift for us, and I think that we appreciate it more when we have this kind of a chronic illness, right, that is not going away, and you look at how sick you are, and then you look around and you think of all the people that you've survived, and it's life is wonderful, isn't it? Especially when you have a grandson. So my grandson is it, right? So I had a great birthday, and by the way, I've turned 63, so I don't mind. I don't mind telling my birthday. I know a lot of people are really shy about it, but it doesn't matter. I'm so proud of having made 63. So it's funny because, in my family, I'm the youngest, I'm the baby in the family, right? So everybody's kind of like, how did you get to be like that old? But hey, here I am, and I appreciate it because I've survived so many that haven't. So last week, I was talking about my trilogy and my journey with Trilogy, and Carol Kirker said it was in the, the thing that you get inside the box with all the side effects on it, that thing that we look at and we never read. I didn't read it, right? But Carol did anyway. So one of the things that I've been on Trilogy since February, and going along my journey, I was getting a lot of muscle aches, really, really, really sore. And I really did think it was the weather because I do have arthritis, and I used to suffer miserably from arthritis, but since I've been sick, I haven't had any arthritis symptoms or problems or anything. I used to actually have psoriatic arthritis, where my skin came out in psoriasis, where the arthritis was really affecting it, because it's all autoimmune, right? And it hasn't bothered me since 2016 until I was on Trilogy. And so because Carol brought that up, I started to look into it, and I looked a little further and looked a little further. And I was very reluctant to call my doctor because I happened to know that he was on rounds this month, and he was very, very busy. And so I didn't really want to bother him, but anyways, long story short, called him. He's got an assistant, and she called me back. And the minute I said, I am having a problem with, I believe that I'm having a problem with Trilogy, she said, I'll ask you the questions. So what I didn't realize is that, and it's a funny thing because, my journaling and everything, and I'm always talking about, let's do a journal and that. I'd gained weight. I've gained about 7 pounds. And the more my weight crept up, the less I journaled about it. And I gave myself a stern talking about this. This is the second time that this has happened. I gave myself a stern talking about this. And you know what I realized? Hi, Gwen. Nice of you to join us today. Hi, Jody. The worse my situation got, the more I blamed it on myself. And until we had talks last week, and until Carol mentioned this, and I started looking a little bit further, I was blaming myself for all of this, all of these things that were happening. You know, a little bit of weight gain, a little harder to get the exercises done, aches and pains, and I'm blaming it on not enough exercise and not enough mobility and all of these things. And I had to give myself a stern talking to. And I now realize that this was the trilogy that was causing all of these things, but I was blaming myself for it. And so the more I blamed myself for it, the less I wanted to journal about it. I don't want to talk about journal, right? Yeah, I've gained 8 pounds, which is really not good for me. And so, well, it's not good for anybody, any of us. And the reason why it's not any good for us is because it's all water weight. And I can tell it's water weight. I'm sitting in these pants that I got on today, and I'm thinking, wow, like my butt is not fitting the way that it should be, right? Well, you know, it's another 10 pounds of hi, Christine. Hi, Jody. Another 10 pounds of weight that I don't need. And because it's all water weight, I didn't even realize that I was gaining water weight. I thought I was just gaining weight. I thought, I'm not eating anything. Like, I really don't eat anything. And I can't, because if I eat too much, I get bloated, right? It's very hard, Carol. You know, the steroids that we're on every day, and most of us are, I think 99% of us are on puffers. And those puffers contain steroids. And the steroids make us gain weight. So, you know, my doctor was always on me about my weight, you know, and every time I went to him, it's against the law if you go to my doctor not to get weighed. And every time I went to him, I'd get the lecture about losing weight, right? And the only time that he didn't give me the lecture about losing weight was the first month that he had me on Symbicort. And as soon as I was on Symbicort, you know, I gained 30 pounds. And I thought, that's really strange that he hasn't said anything to me about this weight that I've gained. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, didn't want the lecture, so I didn't say anything to him. And then eventually I realized that it's the puffers. So anytime that you're trying to lose weight, remember that these puffers keep the weight on us, right? We have to keep the puffers because what are we going to do without our puffers? So long story short, or short story long, however you want to look at that one. As soon as I told her that I was having problems with it, she must have had other people talking to her. So please do talk to your doctor. Please do keep your journals going, because now I have missed the opportunity to take a look back at the symptoms so that I could have tracked them better. But I stopped journaling because I was blaming myself for it instead of laying the blame where it belonged. And this is why it's so important to keep some kind of a health tracker journal so that we can track what happens to us. Because even though the doctor, you know, he was really optimistic about this. He said this is going to be the greatest drug for you. I don't know where he got that information from. I have no idea. Maybe it was the guys that are selling it. I have no idea. But I know that a lot of people have gotten in touch with me. And a lot of people have got in touch with me and said, yes, that they're not feeling very good on the Spreve and that they have a lot of muscle aches and pains. Now, if you can get past it, then it's okay. And if you don't mind, then and the Spreve or the Trilogy is working good for you, then stay on it. But just know that when these things start happening and things start going south, that you know what, not your fault. We've got to start looking at the symptoms. So another thing, so then the doctor said that she would put me back on what I was on before, which was Symbicort and Spreva. And, you know, I was fine on those. I've been on them for years and whatever, right? So the Spreva, and I spoke about this some time ago too, the Spreva, Respimat, which everybody knows is the new stuff. It's a mist. It's more of a mist. The Handy Haler is the one that I use, and I I have to put a pill in a thing and puncture it and then suck all this powder in, right? It's kind of messy and crappy. But anyways, the new one is called the Respimat. When I went on the Respimat, I noticed that because I was journaling, I noticed that I was having urinary tract infections, and really bad ones too. Like, I had never ever had these. All of my life I had never had them. And all of a sudden I was having all these urinary tract infections. And my daughter was freaking out because that means more antibiotics. So we're trying to figure out what the reasoning is on it. And we realize, as I look back over my journal, that every time I've been on the Respimat, I've had an increase of urinary tract infections. And when I go off of it and go back on the HandiHaler, and how I found this out was going in and out of the hospital, whether they had Respimat or HandiHalers, right? Whatever they give you in the hospital, because you know your drugs are all different in the hospital. And Kevin, just to let you know that UTIs are not unique to women, although they're 90% of women get them, but about 20% of men also get urinary tract infections, and sometimes they can be passed on during sex. So just to tell you. So my doctor ordered my drugs again. She ordered the wrong Symbicort. She ordered the wrong Symbicort. The dosage is too low. And she ordered the wrong Spiriva. She gave me the Respimat. Now, I said to her, I cannot take the Respimat because it gives me urinary tract infections. And she said, I've never heard this before. So then I had to say to her, how many of your patients have you asked? Because everybody is too shy to talk about pee-pee problems and poo-poo problems. I did a blog post a couple of months ago when I write for COPD Net, and I did an article in there on when you lose control of your lungs and your body goes into survival mode and you have this urge to urinate or defecate. And it was a huge hit because people said, oh, I knew that this was happening, but my doctor never heard anything about it. And we've come to the conclusion that the reason why the doctor's not hearing about these things is because we're not telling them. Who would actually think that an inhaler could actually cause a urinary tract infection? My family doctor didn't believe me. My pulmonary doctor didn't believe me. But they sent me to a specialist. And as soon as I told him what was happening, he said, of course that's true. It's because of some name that was about this long and I can't pronounce it. That's in this Respimat that's not in the other one. So there you go. So it all depends on who you're talking to, how much information you have. But ultimately, when we look at the progress of COPD, 20 years ago we had about a third of what we have right now. And it was only in the mid-1950s that they actually started looking at something called chronic obstructive. And it was shortly after there that they had things like steroids, right? But they haven't moved a whole lot in research and development. But what we have these days, it's what we have. It's head and shoulders over what they had in the 50s, but we've come a long way in the last 20 years. So I think that in the last 20 years, the patient has also become more educated. And I don't say this to go to your doctor as with a chip on your shoulder, or to go to your doctor as if you know more than him. But remember this, it's your disease. If you don't know more than your doctor about your disease, then there is really a problem here, right? So just to let you know. I had another person call me today, just while we're on meds here, right? COPD sucks. It is a horrible disease to have because it's a horrible thing not to be able to breathe. The worst thing in the world is to not be able to catch your breath. And I talked about this last week when I talked about why I named my blog Catch Your Breath. Because the one thing that I'm constantly saying is, let me stop and catch my breath. And because I was diagnosed at 60, Catch Your Breath 60 kind of came together. And the one thing that we all have in common, we got to stop and catch our breath. It sucks not to be able to breathe. So the other day, my husband and I went to get some flowers for the porch where I work here and everything. I look out in this porch and I've got all these dead things out there. And so we went to get some flowers at the nursery. And because it's still a little cold out, we take the flowers in to pay for them. And I walked in the front door and I just about passed out. The smell was amazing. Like, it smelled really good, but my lungs just closed on me, right? So these are the things that suck for us. And it causes a lot of anxiety. And Carol, you know, we've talked about this all winter. I have a lot of anxiety around winter. As soon as the fall comes, like, go over my blog and you'll see like fall. I go, fall. It's a horrible time of the year. And I have terrible anxieties over winter. All of my exacerbations and every time I've been in the hospital has been in the winter. So we create these anxieties ourselves. And it's because we are allowing our mind to tell us what to do. But for some of us, we're a little bit different than others. But listen to me. If you need to talk to your doctor, if you've had if the question comes up about whether or not you should be on antidepressants, I'm telling you that you probably should. I'm no doctor here and I'm no medical person, but I've been on antidepressants for a lot of years. And I can tell you right now that it has saved my marriage and it has saved my job many times. And it saved my relationship with my kids. So if you're asking, should I be on medication for it? I'm asking you why you wouldn't be. I've been on antidepressants. They don't really change your personality. They just let you calm down about a few things, right? It's, the old adage of what you should give your attention to and what you shouldn't give your attention to, right? And so the things that you do have anxiety about, and one of those things is probably breathing. Antidepressants can really help you. Talk to your doctor and ask him what he could do to help you. And for God's sakes, use all the tools that are in your toolbox. There's no, if the doctor said, you have cancer, and if I give you this pill, it's going to cure the cancer, we're all going to say, let's take the pill. But the doctor says, you have this thing wrong with your brain, it's rewired different, and I can give you a pill and it will help you to rewire it properly. Why would you not do it? For us, listen, life is too short. And having my birthday yesterday and appreciating that sort of stuff, right? Honest to God, I just use the tools that are in your toolbox and enjoy your life. So my second anniversary is coming up, and I have huge giveaways for my second anniversary. But I have to tell you that there's something wrong with my website right now. Anybody who's thinking of putting up a website, honest to God, go take a course first, because it costs a fortune. And if you don't have your website optimized and if you don't have the right stuff on your website, things just don't work well. So a lot of people have been having trouble signing up to my website, and I just found out about it because I'm not tech savvy enough to go in and see these things. But so I have somebody doing my website who's doing some maintenance on it and that. And she went in and she said, people are trying to sign up to your website and they're getting blocked because of blah, 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 blah. And I don't know, don't hear anything after that because I don't know what she's talking about. So I'm hoping that Friday I'm going to have my hooray, it's a giveaway time. Hooray, it's time for a giveaway, or hooray, it's time for something. And anyways, that's going to be when my contest starts. So my anniversary is actually June 28th, but I think we're going to do this more in May. And I'm going to have 3 or 4 draws over the weeks because I really do have a lot to give away. So I have 2 mugs, and I was so busy today I didn't even get tea for tea time. My husband was supposed to get that for me and he forgot. So anyways, 2 tea time mugs will be given away, 1 to each. There'll be 2 winners on that one. I will have 2 keychains that are Spoonie keychains, and I'm going to have pictures up on my website. So for Spoonies, Spoonies, and they're going to be keychains, and they're really cool. And my niece made those for us. And I am going to have hi Norma. I am going to have a custom sketch that is done by my local artist who did my picture. This is my picture. This is not the one that you will be getting. But I will have a picture of the sketch, and it is absolutely and totally gorgeous. And it is done it's going to be one of a kind, and it's only for this contest. So you're going to start seeing this probably on Friday. Today's Tuesday. So probably Friday we're going to have a whole big thing, right? Now, I want you to know that the names are going to be picked from my email list. So you have to be on my email list, but you can't sign up right now because my email, it's all down. Anyways, that's going to happen, and that's going to be really exciting. I'm really happy about that. So follow me on Twitter at CatchYourBreath60, on Pinterest at CatchYourBreath60, on Instagram at CatchYourBreath60, at Facebook, which is here. And if you like this page, I really, really, you know what, the more people I get liking this page, the more promotions Facebook gives me. So I really appreciate anybody signing up to my page today. The page is just exploding. I can't believe it. I was off doing other stuff and it just grew by itself. And also at catchyourbreath60.com. So we might have another repost tomorrow if I can't get my website done properly, because I'm looking for subscribers, and I want to make sure that I get my search engines and everything all in order, and that's what my web person's doing for me. So lots of stuff this week, and I appreciate everybody who sent in their comments about me walking Hunter last week. It was so much fun. Oh my God, it was so much fun. And next week, Hunter will be here with us for the whole week. He'll be with his granny and papa for the whole week because the babysitter's on holidays. So, yay! Maybe we'll bring Hunter on next week, and you will introduce him. He is not allowed to see a screen. So he has not seen TV. He is not allowed to play with a phone. He's not allowed to see any screens. And so when he comes to Granny and Papa, sometimes we watch news, and that's really, really bad. And he loves it. He absolutely loves it. So I think that's why he always likes to, he's always pointing at it, right? At the TV. And I go, don't tell your mother that you saw the TV. Anyways, next week I might introduce Hunter if he's here and he's up for tea time. He should be so. Thank you so much for following me today. I really appreciate the conversation. I know that there's a lot of side conversations that go on, and I really, really do encourage that. Your exercise will be found at COPD, Exercise to Healthy Living. Carol and Sandra are the moderators of that page, or they're the owners of that page, and they do a fabulous job of kicking our butt every day. I want you to know, Carol and Sandra, that I am on the treadmill, and it's all because of you. It's your fault. So they also do a lot of promotions for Noah, and if everybody knows Noah Greenspan at Pulmonary Wellness, he's absolutely fabulous. Kevin's a writer with me at COPD Net, and don't forget about Derek Cummings at We Strive to Breathe Easier, because he's fabulous. Derek is probably, and I think Kevin will agree with me here, he is our guru. I think he is the one that we all go to first. He is the most wealth of knowledge I have ever heard in my life. You just have to ask Derek, and if Derek doesn't know, Derek will find out, and he's absolutely fabulous. So we go from Derek, and then we go to Noah, and then we start searching websites, and I think that's what everybody does, right? In their quest for something valuable. So these are the websites that I watch, and go and see Carol and Sandra at COPD Healthy. Now I forgot. Now COPD. Say it for me. Exercise to Healthy Living. Sorry. COPD, exercise to healthy living. They'll keep you going every day. And Carol puts you to bed at night, and that's absolutely fabulous. I so enjoy this community. I look forward to it every week. And I spend a lot of time thinking about this. So please do keep in touch. Please do leave your comments. I love every one of your comments. And are you talking about Derek Cummings? Yes, it's called We Strive to Breathe Easier. And what I'll do, Sandra, is after I get off of here, I will put a link on this page to Derek Cummings' site. I know that you've all seen it, because anytime that you put anything in anything in the search bar about COPD, Derek would come up. Like I said, he's the oldest guy, and he's I think he said he's had COPD for, if you are ready, 35 years. Now that is really, really, like, that's encouraging, right? 35 years he's had COPD. So believe me when I tell you, he'll go with you through each step, and he will talk to you about what is happening. And he's like the guy, he knows everything, right? So COPD, exercise to healthy living, on Facebook and Instagram. They're also on Instagram. And I believe that they will be going into YouTube at some point, right? So I will put Derek's contact up, and I really appreciate everybody getting in touch with us today. And I try to, if you want a specific link, or if there's anything that you need, send me the questions, because I have some resources that I can go to, to see if there's links. Like, everybody liked that medical clickable thing, right? So keep in touch. We will be back next week. And believe it or not, when we come back next week, it's going to be May. If we don't be careful and slow it down a little bit, guys, Christmas is going to be right around the corner, and nobody wants that. Have a great day. Have a great week. See you next week on Tea Time.